The Weather Extreme video for Monday, the 1st of February. Very active weather coming up. Will be spring-like today. We have the chance of severe storms late tomorrow and tomorrow night. That will be the focus of this discussion. So let's dive in. Clearly, you can see the big trough in the western states that will be stirring up a big fuss for much of the nation in coming days. Big snows in the cold air sector and a chance of severe weather down here in the warm air. That was a look at the radar this morning. At 5:06, had a band of showers from near Heflin down to Montgomery. And we could see a few scattered showers about today and tonight, but not very many. I think much of the day today will be dry. Ooh, look at the 60s to start the day. You know it's going to be a warm day when Birmingham is at 63 before the sun comes up. We'll expect a high in the low 70s in most spots today and tomorrow. We got 3 consecutive days of this spring-like weather. But it's very cold in the northern states, and again, you can kind of pick out that rain-snow line with this big storm by looking at the watches and the warnings. The counties in pink, those are winter storm warnings, all the way from Utah and Colorado up through the Great Plains, up into Wisconsin and upper Michigan. In fact, let me just show you the WPC snow accumulation forecast, and you can see a really big band of snow there north of the surface low track from Denver to Green Bay. That will be a big one for our friends there. All right, let's look at the convective outlooks. This is today, no severe weather expected, but tomorrow, there you go. We got a risk of severe storms from the Gulf Coast up to points north of the Ohio River. You can see the enhanced risk from near Jackson up into western Kentucky. The standard risk all the way from Baton Rouge to Cincinnati and almost up to Indianapolis. Now, we'll take a closer look in our state. And you know, the risks have been kind of shifting to the left and right here. It's been doing the hokey pokey over the weekend, but it shifted back to the right. And now the enhancement is basically where it was last week. We have the enhanced risk. And again, understand this is for tomorrow and tomorrow night from Tuscaloosa and Huntsville west. And that's where the greater chance of tornadoes will be. But understand tornadoes don't know where these lines are. These are just a guideline. The standard risk, the slight risk, the areas in yellow, that's west of a line from Heflin to Greenville to about Bruton. And that would include Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, Selma, Montgomery, and Mobile, Demopolis. And then a marginal risk for Auburn, Opelika, Troy, Dothan, Geneva, and Delusia. And obviously we'll take a look at this, but that's the general idea. Then on day 3, which is Wednesday, there could be some thunder left over during the morning hours, but the severe weather will be over. Rain for the next 5 days, about 1 inch. This is valid through Saturday morning. So let's take a look at this thing. This is today at noon off the GFS, the 06Z run. There's the trough coming out of the southwest. Big snows developing there today. Denver, Albuquerque, Salt Lake City, Flagstaff. And for us, cloudy, mild, kind of breezy, maybe a few scattered showers about, but nothing widespread. And again, a good chance we see low 70s today. Tomorrow at noon, the surface low is a little northwest of Kansas City. Big snows, blizzard conditions. Omaha, Des Moines, up in the cold air. Showers and storms in the warm air sector. 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. The surface low is on the Missouri-Iowa border. The dry line, the cold front near the Mississippi River, and then at midnight tomorrow night, the surface low near Chicago with the main band of storms coming through here. So obviously we will deal with a squall line tomorrow night with a chance of strong, maybe damaging straight line winds. The biggest question is, can we get some isolated storms ahead of that line late tomorrow with a chance of tornadoes? Let's take a look at some severe weather parameters. First off, this is the instability, the surface-based CAPE. The numbers are not as high as what we saw last week. The numbers, in fact, are generally 500 joules per kilogram, maybe a little higher in spots, but as we often say, it doesn't take a lot in the cool season to get some severe weather going, but those numbers are not overwhelming. This is the low-level jet at 850 millibars, about 5,000 feet off the ground. The bigger values are a little north of the state from Nashville north, and this is 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Nashville up to Indianapolis, where they're hitting 70 knots up there. But down here, the low-level jet's in excess of 50 knots, and again, that's certainly sufficient for severe weather. This is the low-level storm relative helicity in the lowest 1 kilometer of the atmosphere. And again, those numbers are quite sufficient for rotating updrafts and the possibility of a few tornadoes. The energy helicity index peaks a little over central and south Alabama because that's where the better instability will be. You don't see those values higher to the north because of the lack of instability, and that's pretty typical for the cold season. And the SIGTOR values kind of look the same, and I'm not so sure it's going to work out that way. I think the better chance of tornadoes will be up in the northwestern part of the state, but understand they could happen anywhere within those risks. And this is the projected sounding for Birmingham. And just I know this is pegging the geek meter, but obviously that is a sounding that would favor a few tornadoes. In fact, you're seeing the possible hazard type box. It's got tornado there, but you can see the veering of the wind down there in the lower gates. The limiting factors, I'd say, here would be the lapse rates are not overwhelmingly strong. They're somewhat weak, and that might be a limiting factor in this whole thing. And again, the instability values aren't that impressive, but still, that is a sounding that would suggest potential for severe storms with large hail, damaging wind, and maybe a few tornadoes. I'd say in terms of timing, we'll probably need to start the window about 3 o'clock up there in that northwestern corner of the state, maybe winding down about midnight. And again, the storm should weaken as they cross over Interstate 65 to the east. The parameter is not as favorable east of I-65, but again, there's still some chance of severe weather there. So clearly, we'll be watching late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. All right, Wednesday, the rain will be ending during the morning hours. We cool down. The high will probably drop into the 50s, nothing severely cold. And this is Thursday, cool and dry, 30s and 50s. Same thing Friday, bright, sunny weather. We start the day around 30. The high would be in the middle 50s. And this is Saturday as the weekend begins. Should be a dry day, partly to mostly sunny, and again, lows around freezing, highs in the middle 50s. Sunday, a little low forms in the Gulf. That tries to bring some rain up into Alabama from the south. That looks like the better chance could be across the southern half of the state. We'll keep an eye on that. And this is a week from today. Troughing begins to form over the eastern U.S. And a deep surface low is near the mouth of Chesapeake Bay. We'll see if that might be a nor'easter-type snowstorm for some of our friends up there. But if that's right, that would be a cool, dry day. Now, this is the middle of next week, Wednesday the 10th, and that's a much colder look. And that's some pretty cold air coming down the pike. That's dry. And again, look at the anomalies. And we've had a lot of signals from, teleconnections and global models that the middle of the month could be pretty cold. I think this could very well happen. The Arctic Oscillation goes negative. North Atlantic Oscillation goes negative. You can't be specific, but it certainly looks like we could be dealing with some pretty cold air out there at mid-month. And for the snow fans, like we've said here for a long time, there's a long way to go in winter. We typically get one or two decent threats. We've had a few little flirts with it this season, but we'll see. Temperatures for the next 15 days, you see the low 70s in the short term. Highs drop back in the 50s later this week. And again, off the ensemble here, it's got 60s at mid-month, and I would say that's not right. I think it's going to be much, much colder than that. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes in the blog. Next video here by 4 o'clock this afternoon. If you can't catch us this evening on the live stream or the television side, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.